From Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
Tonight on News Hour, bandits abduct 31 people in Katsina villages. Chief Justice of Nigeria assures Nigerians of transparent transfer of power in 2023 elections. Aisha Buhari's social media critic released after case withdrawal. And away from Nigeria, Democratic Republic of Congo declares 3 days of mourning after massacre of over 100 people. Hello and welcome to the News Hour on Trust Television. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thank you for joining. And here's the news in details. Terrorists numbering about 40 and riding on motorcycles on Friday invaded Karare village of Batsari local government area of Katsina State. The terrorists killed one person and abducted an unspecified number of people, including women and children. Abdullahi Yamadi reports that the bandits also abducted an unspecified number of students who were heading to the Government Day Secondary School Karare from Kokia village. As at press time, residents of Karare and Kokia villages were yet to confirm the number of victims from the Friday's abductions. Some residents expressed worry over the increasing spate of kidnappings for ransom, cattle rustlings, and killings of innocent people. While admitting the abduction of some residents, the chairman, Batsari local government area, Yusuf Yenji, however, refuted the allegations of students' abduction, saying that the story was unfounded. Now, Abdullahi Yamadi is... Okay, we are yet to connect with correspondent in Katsina, Abdullahi Yamadi, who will be bringing us updates on this attack subsequently. Now, the governors of the 36 states of the Federation have said that they are surprised at the accusations leveled against them by the Minister of State for Budget and National Planning, Clement Agba, over Nigeria's poverty index. The federal government, through the National Bureau of Statistics in November, said that 130 million Nigerians are poor and representing 63% of the nation's population. The minister had, after the Federal Executive Council meeting on Wednesday, told journalists that the federal government's social investment plan had not impacted optimally because of a lack of cooperation from the state governors. According to Agba, the governors concentrate on executing bogus projects rather than improving lives in the rural areas. But reacting in a statement signed by the Director of Media and Public Affairs, Nigeria Governors Forum Secretariat, Abdulrazaki Bello Barikindo, the governors described the minister's comments as unnecessary and diversionary, saying that they represent a brazen descent into selective amnesia. According to them, the assertion by the minister that the rural populace had been abandoned by governors is not only preposterous and without any empirical basis, but also very far from the truth. The federal government has expressed its plan to bring investment to different sectors of the economy to reduce Nigeria's reliance on debt. The Executive Secretary, Nigeria Investment Promotion Commission, Saratu Umar, stated this while speaking to State House correspondents after a closed-door meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. The NIPC boss said that the commission believed that once it was able to bring an investment to different sectors of the economy, the burden of debt would decline. She said that the president, who supported the drive to strengthen the investment of Nigeria, also expressed his willingness to do the best he can to ensure the country's investment drive was given a lot of traction. The executive secretary said that it will be able to generate more foreign exchange once NIPC had been able to facilitate exports.
As we do know, insecurity, of course, would kind of be of concern to any investor, but it's not really the major reason why investors would stay away. Of course, there are certain parts of Nigeria that are not really undergoing this issue. And for those ones that are not having the issue, we're trying to ensure we get investment to those sectors. And for those of them that are having the issue, we're trying to work doubly hard to see what's possible to still do within the situation we find ourselves. So the major takeaways is supporting the drive to strengthen the investment drive of Nigeria. And he's willing, within the time he's still here as president of Nigeria, to do the best he can to ensure the country's investment drive is given a lot of traction. So I'm very encouraged and I've been giving a lot of energy now to continue what we're doing at the Commission that would help the investment promotion drive of Nigeria.
The Nigeria Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress have described as unacceptable the lingering scarcity of petrol across the country and the unapproved price hike above 240 naira per litre in the country. They urged the government to find an immediate solution to the shortage before things get out of hand. In a joint statement by the NLC and the TUC, the organized labour said that no excuse was good enough for the shortage because no private individual or company was importing a litre of PMS into this country. They argued that all products are imported by the government, adding that there is no record that the agency of government that is importing the products has added a kobo to the price it sells to the marketers. In the statement, the president of the NLC and TUC, Ayuba Waba and Festus Osifo, said that they are reliably informed that the shortage is deliberately fostered by players in the downstream sector in order to hike price far above the government-approved threshold. Now, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukayode Ariwoola, has assured Nigerians of a free and transparent transfer of power to another democratically elected government come 2023 and provide more access to the justice for the citizenry. Ariwoola also promised to leave a legacy of irreversible judicial independence in Nigeria. The legal luminary spoke at Isheyin, an agrarian community of Oyo State, where indigents are bothered by what they termed a plethora of confusing court judgments and are stressing the importance of the judiciary to community development.
Before the emergence of Justice Ariwoola, there has not been much of top-bottom value in terms of leadership or achievement of incorruptible justice system. If without knowing him in person, I have not met him personally, but I've read a lot about him. He brought a lot of hope to the judiciary. Every person say well of him that he's point blank, he's a righteous person, he speaks the truth no matter what. And having that alone, I believe even judges at magistrate court, at customary court, will then live from that. If the head is clean and is incorruptible, then it's become an inspiration for other judges down there. But if judges see that the top is, without mentioning name, the past CJN, the kind of information, the news we heard about CJN collecting gifts, grafts, is not encouraging for judiciary. The leadership problem is the major challenge for judiciary in Nigeria. But we are hoping that this new leadership is going to change a lot of things.
The judges or all the stakeholders in the justice system, if they are playing their role the way it's supposed to be played, let's start with the judges. They have to ensure that they dispense justice without favoritism, without ill will, and without sentiment. Once judges are ready to do that, because the problem we really have in Nigeria is not about the laws. We have a lot of laws, but the problem is enforcement.
The politicians have a role to play too, and the role should be to make sure that they don't influence monetarily the judiciary system. They should be able to work independently like the executive and the legislative arms of the government. So with these people will be able to do, because without the judiciary and even without, for the community development like the topic implies, if people want to invest and they realize that, okay, if they feel like somebody cheated them or something, even foreigners, if they don't have a strong judiciary system and independent judiciary system, they will be scared to come and do, invest in our
in the committee is where anybody elected into the Green Chamber can make a difference. Whether you want to make a difference in education, you want to make a difference in health, you must belong to that committee. If I'm to serve in the committee of, say, judiciary, the best I could do is to look at what are the challenges they're facing right now. And what we're talking
The Borno State chapter of the Labour Party has appealed to Borno indigents to cast their ballot for the Obi Datti presidential candidacy during the presidential election in 2023. The party made the call during the flag-off of the state's 168 campaign teams in Maiduguri. The Director General of the campaign, Gavs Katia, said its presidential candidate will not be gender-biased in governance and will run a young, inclusive government as well as transform the country from consumption to production. He added that if they are elected into power, the party will tackle insecurity and end poverty.
We are here to inform the good people of Borno State that the presidency of Mr. Peter Obi and Mr. Yusuf Ahmed Datti will ensure security and provide welfare for the citizens as enshrined in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The Obi Datti combination is entrusted by all Nigerians who have formed support groups across the country to carry out the mandate based on their motive to serve, attitude towards service, and previous conduct in the service. The Obi Datti presidency will usher in good governance of providing security, welfare to the people through competence and merit, pragmatic approach, and honesty.
Now, the Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu on Saturday appealed to the people of Lagos State to give him another chance to govern them for the next 4 years, saying that he still has a lot more to do. At the formal flag-off of the governorship campaign by the All Progressives Congress in Lagos for the 2023 election, Sanwo-Olu reminisced on the last 3.5 years of steering the ship of the Center of Excellence, saying that it has been interesting and challenging. Sanwo-Olu lauded members of the APC for standing by the party and making it the only party in the state, tasking them not to rest on their oars in consolidating on the victory of the party in the 2023 elections. He recalled that he took over the mantle of leadership at a time the global economy witnessed disruption due to the COVID-19 pandemic outbreak with the attendant economic meltdown. He stated that through the resolute commitment of his government, the state was able to weather the storm and come out stronger and better. Sanwo-Olu declared that a greater Lagos is rising because of the modest achievements recorded in the last 3.5 years, encompassing all components of its theme agenda.
Interesting 3.5 years for us, for Femi, myself, and our cabinet, and of course, the House of Assembly. But it's been an interesting and a challenging one. It's been a time where we've seen global disruption worldwide, where we've seen global economic meltdown, where we have seen global health issues. But your state, your government, continue to remain resolute, remain committed. I want to thank you. I want to thank you because in the last 3.5 years, we have all traversed very difficult terrain, but we have come out better, stronger, and better. Now, to the slogan of our campaign, a greater Lagos is rising.
Success tactics from his predecessors. So I have no doubt in my mind that victory is assured. On behalf of other 37 members of Lagos State House of Assembly candidates, we want to say very big thank you. Yeah, 37, we want to say very big thank you to all the party loyalists and all Lagosians, that we are not going to disappoint you, and we will continue to serve you and represent you adequately. Thank you, and God bless you.
The federal government recently approved a 14-working-day paternity leave for civil servants at the federal tier of government. With the approval, fathers are now permitted to take off 2 weeks to celebrate the arrival of a new baby. Some Makurdi residents who spoke to Jimmy Azande reacted to the move. All right, we'll bring you that report later. The Independent National Electoral Commission office in Olu, local government area of Imo State, has been set ablaze by unknown arsonists. Now, the arsonists attacked the building undergoing renovation on Thursday. An ex-resident electoral commissioner for Imo State, Sylvia Agu, confirmed the attack in a statement issued by the National Commissioner for Information and Voter Education Committee, Festus Okoye. Okoye, who said some of those working on the site were kidnapped but later released, also disclosed that the timely intervention of the police deployed to the site reduced the damage. INEC expressed worry over the recent attacks on its facilities across the country ahead of the 2023 general elections, saying that such attacks have negative consequences on its preparations for 2023. Now, the federal government has assured Nigerians of the collaboration of various armed forces in the country to ensure the safety of passengers and trains as the Abuja-Kaduna train service resumes on December 5th. The Managing Director, Nigeria Railway Corporation, Fidet Okiria, gave the assurance in an interview on Saturday in Abuja. Okiria said that apart from the involvement of security personnel, the government had deployed technology, among other things, to ensure the incident of March 28th does not reoccur in the country. The NRC bus reiterated that every passenger willing to board the train must be profiled with the use of the NIN so as to obtain the passenger's information on NIMSI platform. On patronage, the NRC bus expressed optimism that there will be an influx of customers as passengers were eager for the trains to recommence operation on the route. You're watching the News Hour on Trust Television. Coming up shortly, we'll take a look at high praises for paternity leave. Details of this and more after the break.
As part of security measures in place to ensure a secure resumption of the Abuja-Kaduna train route, the federal government has directed that the use of the National Identity Number, NIN, is now compulsory for passenger profiling when boarding the Abuja-Kaduna train service. All intending train passengers are to note the new ticketing guidelines. Existing profile owners are required to update their profiles with their NIN. Failure to update will reflect the profile as unverified. Where a profile is not verified, the intending passenger will not be able to purchase a ticket. All new profile registration will now require passengers to include their NIN. All tickets for minor passengers must be bought by an adult. Where the minor has no NIN, the minor passenger's ticket will reflect the NIN of the adult making the purchase. However, only the minor passenger's name will reflect on the ticket and will be verified during the ID check process. It is dangerous to use your NIN to purchase tickets for unknown persons. This may lead to criminal prosecution. Passengers are advised to conduct themselves orderly and avoid altercation with NRC and security officials, as defaulters will be duly prosecuted and severely punished. Your NIN Simply dial *346# on your mobile phone and follow the prompts. This message is from the Nigerian Railway Corporation.
Ba a iya sutura da abinci jin daɗin duniyar mai ƙare. Za ka iya more rayuwarka da kayan alfarma na kamfanin Vento Furniture kamar su Ladi Corner Sets, Escape Sofa Sets, Acadia Sofa, Piano Sofa Sets, Sofa Corner Sets, Vento Sofa Sets. Sannan kuma za ku iya saka ƙayatattun gadaje na alfarma a ɗakunan kamar su Gold Cream Bedroom Sets ko kuma ku wadata falonku da kujeru na alfarma irin su Sare Royal Set da Acadia Dining Sets. Ofishoshinku kuwa za ku iya saka manya-manyan kujeru na kece raini domin walwala da jin daɗin ku da abokan hulɗa. Kamfanin Vento Furniture ya tanadar muku gadajen bacci na yara masu inganci, kayan ɗaki irin na angwaye da amare har ma da sarakuna. Muna da shagunan mu a gurare kamar haka: 79 Allen Avenue, Ikeja, Lagos; 7A Azikiwe Road, Port Harcourt; 25 Glover Road, Ikoyi, Lagos; Shop U1 Jabi Lake Mall, Abuja; da kuma 4330 Walker Road, Windsor, Ontario ga mazauna ƙasar Canada. Vento Furniture mun zagaye ko'ina.
Now, as part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening...
Now, looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130...
Created a Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secure are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the...
Already, if you look at English squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
Welcome back. You're watching the News Hour on Trust Television. Here's a look at the top stories again. Bandits abduct 31 people in Katsina villages. Plus, Chief Justice of Nigeria assures Nigerians of transparent transfer of power in 2023 elections. Let's now join our Katsina State correspondent Abdullahi Amadi, who has an update on the said abduction of 31 people in Katsina villages. Thank you so much for joining us on the News Hour, Abdullahi.
Good evening.
Thank you. So, what can you tell us now, as at now, on the situation of this abduction that we are hearing about?
Well, like you heard in the last report, 31 people, including women and children, have been abducted from a farming community, Karari to be precise, in that local government area of Katsina State. The report says the bandits came early hours of Friday when the villagers were having their breakfast. The villagers said they received some distress calls from neighboring communities alerting them on the possible attack. But unfortunately, they were caught unaware. When they arrived, they were shooting sporadically. They killed one person who was a cleaner to the village clinic. And thereafter, they abducted unspecified number of people. And along the way, they abducted some students who were coming from Kochia, a neighboring community, to Government Day Secondary School, Kanari, all in that local government. But when I contacted police authorities in Batari, and of course the Batari local government authority, they denied abduction of any students. But the villagers, even before this call, when I contacted some of them, they were insisting that a number of them, their students, were abducted along the way. And this is exactly what is happening with regards to the Batari abduction.
All right. Thank you so much, Abdullahi Amadi, for the updates there. We'll keep tab on this incident as we progress.
Thank you so much.
All right. Now, moving on, photos of the final year student of the Federal University Dutse, Aminu Muhammad, have surfaced online after his release from the Suleja Correctional Center late Friday following the withdrawal of the suit against him by the First Lady, Aisha Buhari. The withdrawal of the suit against the student came after pressure from activist Amnesty International, the National Association of Nigerian Students, and other citizens who called for his release. The prosecution counsel, Fidelis Ogbobe, while withdrawing the case on behalf of Mrs. Buhari, said that the First Lady, being the mother of the nation, decided to withdraw the case following the intervention of well-meaning Nigerians. Moving a motion for the withdrawal of the case, Ogbobe cited Section 108, subsection 2A of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act. Justice Yusuf Halilu of the FCT High Court commended the First Lady for withdrawing the case. The National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, in a reaction said that the withdrawal of the suit signals victory for all Nigerian students. The Independent National Electoral Commission on Saturday tendered the original copy of the secondary school certificate of Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke as the Election Petition Tribunal sitting in Osogbo, the state capital. The All Progressives Congress and its candidate in the July 16 governorship election in the state, Adeboyega Oyetola, are challenging the result of the election before Justice Stacey Kume's three-man election tribunal. The petitioners, through their counsel, Lateef Fagbemi, demanded the original copy of Adeleke's certificate, and the court mandated INEC to produce it. Counsel to INEC, Henry Akunebu, tendered the original copy of the certificate to the court on Saturday, and it was admitted as an exhibit. Thereafter, the petitioners closed their case, and the tribunal adjourned till December 20 for the first, second, and third respondents, INEC, Adeleke, and the People's Democratic Party, to open their defense. Meanwhile, candidates of various political parties participating in the 2023 governorship election in Oyo State have signed a peace pact towards a violence-free 2023 elections. The ceremony was held at the police headquarters in Eleyele, Oyo State Command in Ibadan. Present at the ceremony was the incumbent governor, Seyi Makinde of the People's Democratic Party, Bayo Adelabu of the Accord Party, Popola Josiah of the New Nigeria People's Party. But the All Progressives Congress candidate, Teslim Folari, was represented by his deputy governorship candidate, Okunlola Oluwafemi. The event was chaired by the chairman, Peace Accord Committee, and the former governor of the state, Rashid Ladoja, and hosted by the Commissioner of Police in the state, Adebowale Williams.
Guides designed in order of recognizance and undertaking to keep peace and good conduct among political actors and their supporters before, during, and after the 2023 general election.
Engineer Seyi Makinde, other candidates, all of them are all there. Bayo Adelabu is there, Akim is there, POJ is there. I'm sorry, I'm already an old man. After all of you are Omadu Abis. We know what Omadu Abis will do, and we know what Omadu Abis cannot do. We are all Omadu Abis. And in fact, after the elections, we will still be friends.
I wasn't given any special treatment as the sitting governor of Oyo State. That is democracy at home. That is what we would like to see, and that is a wake-up call for all of us occupying, certain positions right now, that our bosses are the people.
It's the first of its kind in the entire 36 states. After the National Peace Accord signed in Abuja, and as a peace-setter state, I'm not surprised that Oyo State is the first to take this giant step. It means that all political aspirants now, all candidates of all parties are aware and are conscious of the fact that they have the responsibility to ensure a itch-free, peaceful political electionary campaign.
Now, Senator Orji Uzor Kalu has debunked rumors making the round that the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, was denied a visa to the United States of America. Describing the story as fake, in a Facebook post on Saturday, the former Abia State governor said Tinubu postponed the travel himself and was never denied a visa. He said as the election draws closer, the opposition will spread more fake news against their presidential candidate and urge the party's supporters to always ignore and keep their eyes on the ball. Kalu claimed that the State Department of the U.S. confirmed to him that Tinubu will be received in the third week of December. The APC Presidential Campaign Council had, in a statement last week, said that the Tinubu will embark on foreign trips from December 4th to meet global leaders and pitch his presidential aspirations. Now, amid security concerns in the upcoming 2023 general elections in the country, stakeholders in community policing in Gombe State say that they are strategizing to complement the efforts of the police and the Independent National Electoral Commission, the Commission. Ibrahim Ismail speaks to the Director General, Gombe Media Corporation, Kabiru Ibn Muhammad, who is also a member of the Gombe State Community Policing on modalities being put in place to ensure a secured electoral process in the state.
Recently, there have been reports of attacks on offices of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) in some states across the country, the most recent being an attack on the Commission's office at Olu local government area of Imo State. With this development, stakeholders in the country are concerned about the safety of people and electoral infrastructure for the upcoming 2023 general election, a situation that has gotten the Gombe State Community Policing Committee on its way.
Well, first you have to come and ease police of other hardships. Community have to come in and complement government efforts. So in that respect, all the communities, traditional institutions are very much involved, and they are always eager to see that their people lives in peace.
Kabiru said the Gombe State Community Policing Committee has embarked on massive campaign to sensitize people on the need to support the police and other security operatives in the state on intelligence gathering.
We are ready to do that, particularly when it comes to issue of logistics, so that they reach the remote areas, and to draw attention of our people to shun away from any hate speech, any religious bigotry, any other things that will bring disharmony in our communities.
Meanwhile, in a recent chat with Trust TV, the Emir of Pindiga, Ako local government area of Gombe State, identified the role of the traditional institutions as key in ensuring security.
Before, if there's any strange face in a community, the ward head is alerted, the village head is alerted, and so the emirs and chiefs. Otherwise, as it is today, you have no right to talk to people. We only report out to the police that something is happening in that community. But on the whole, the traditional rulers are those that can help immensely in making sure that insecurity is curbed to the lowest minimum.
A report by Tony Blair Institute for Global Change has warned that terrorists may disrupt the free conduct of the forthcoming 2023 general elections unless security operatives and other stakeholders are proactive enough to avert any possible attacks that can jeopardize the conduct of the elections. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
Stakeholders in journalism have identified young campus reporters as vanguard of change. To this end, they are being urged to drive sustainable development in the country through transformative reportage. Noel Samson has more.
Young people not only present the future of the country, they are one of the main agents of change and progress. Hence, they need to harness their energies and employ them in productive ventures.
Youth are the power and the reference of every community, every institution, and indeed of the future. If you look through history, the greatest developments had been initiated through young people. Even look at any institution and look at the history of the development. Even our country, when people say, oh, people like Awo, people like this and this did all this. Do you know what age they were doing all that? They were doing it as young people. Shoyinka was writing from 23. He was writing big stuff. I mean, well, there's so many great writers now who are young people. So the power of youth is so important, and it's better to give the resources the value, because that's where change can really happen. And it's better to put the resources that leads to more positive change than destructive change here.
The importance of empowering young individuals, preparing them for the future, especially in the area of journalism, was also highlighted.
It is all about young people. So it is about preparing the next generation of journalists with all the skills that they require: digital skills, ethical skills, fact-checking skills, whatever skills, writing skills, that they need to take over the mantle of storytelling in our newsroom.
The youth expressed appreciation for the opportunity and also spoke on what the recognition means to them.
I feel so good. I mean, so encouraged to do more. Even if for nothing, the fact that combining academic activities with journalism is not an easy thing, but the fact that my work is being recognized is a huge encouragement to me to do more.
Very good. As a campus reporter, you have a lot of challenges ahead of you, using your own money as transport, and when you have a good pitch, you'll be able to get the funding from organizations like CJID, the ICR, and others. But no matter what, don't do it to earn the byline or to get the money. When the time comes, the money will come and the byline will come.
One of the biggest impacts that the empowerment can have on youth is its ability to move them from a dependent to an independent mindset that translates to opportunities for them and the larger society. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The Center for Citizens with Disabilities has called for the recognition of persons with disabilities by the federal government and 17 state governments in the country. The CCD Director, David Ayali, said this in a statement to commemorate this year's edition of the International Day of Persons with Disabilities on Saturday. Proclaimed in 1992 by the United Nations General Assembly, Resolution 47.3, the annual event is held on December 3rd to promote an understanding of disability issues and mobilize support for the dignity, rights, and well-being of persons with disabilities. It also seeks to increase awareness of gains to be derived from the integration of persons with disabilities in every aspect of political, social, economic, and cultural life. The theme for the 2022 is Transformative Solutions for Inclusive Development, the role of innovation in fueling an accessible and equitable world. Now, 4 years after the signing of the Persons with Disability Act by President Muhammadu Buhari, the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities says it still faces discrimination from some government agencies. The Act, among other things, provides for 5% employment opportunities for persons with disabilities, sanctions for discrimination against persons with disabilities, and social inclusion. As the world marks the International Day of Persons with Disability, the Executive Secretary, National Commission for Persons with Disabilities, James Lalu, in an interview with Trust TV, says the Commission will forward the names of agencies that have failed to implement provisions of the PWD's Act to the relevant authorities for necessary action.
The issue of 5% employment opportunity, yes, it is provided in Section 29 of the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Prohibition Act. The very government agency are supposed to comply with the 5% provisions. And in that case, we have partnered with the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. We remain grateful to His Excellency Boss Mustafa for listening to our cries. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation issued a service-wide circular to every federal government agency, mandating them to comply with the 5% opportunity. And I can tell you that the circular have started working already. A lot of these federal government agencies have started responding to it, though some of them have not, some of them still ignore it, but we are doing everything possible to call their attention to see the need to comply with the circular. Some of them, we have already compiled the list of those agencies that are refusing to comply with the circular. We will send them back to the Office of the Secretary to the Government Federation to report them for discrimination against persons with disabilities based on the provision of the law. In that case, we have provided a platform, an online platform. We have a 24-hour, 7 days WhatsApp group where persons with disabilities can report cases on discrimination every minute. We work on it.
The federal government recently approved a 14-working-day paternity leave for civil servants at the federal tier of government. With the approval, fathers are now permitted to take off 2 weeks to celebrate the arrival of a new baby. Some Makurdi residents who spoke to Jimmy Azande reacted to the move.
Like every other policy, this one too has generated different reactions across the gender divide. To some, it is a welcome development that should be replicated across the states and the FCT.
It's not just the women alone that get stressed during this period, transition from pregnancy to childbirth, the early infant stage, getting to when the child begins to work. And to work rather, it's a tough time for both parents. The mother needs, most times you find out that the child keeps the mother awake almost through the night. Many of them, babies are just funny. They just have a way of just staying awake through the night and falling asleep at the early hours of the day.
Going forward, the men, I'm sure they are also excited. Having to stay with their wife after delivery and caring for the child. And also, most of the times you get to, receive a lot of visitors who come to congratulate you and see the baby mother and the child. So the men, I'm sure they'll be excited to also support their wife within this period.
The man should be around to nurse this child. And at the end of it, it will give them that relationship, closer relationship with the child that is being nursed. Most of these men, they go out in the morning before they come back this evening. So most of the time, this child doesn't get to know them well from their childhood, to get some level before they come to know what is my father, what is my father like, what does he want, what does he not want. That relationship is not as close as it should be. But with this thing in place now, it will foster the relationship of the father and the child.
What the federal government have said is not too bad. I believe if the paternity leave is to assist your wife as well, to be taking care of your junior ones. So the idea is not that bad.
But there are also naysayers to the law. These ones feel there is no need. They say it is wrong for both the husband and wife to embark on leave, especially if both are civil servants.
For me, I look at it as not being fair. I see no need that men should go on maternity leave just like the women. Because sometimes when men proceed on maternity leave, majority of them are it will be them that will be in the offices. And if men proceed to maternity leave just like the women, I think it's not fair on my side. I'm a man, but I didn't welcome the idea.
The head of the Civil Service of the Federation, in a circular, explained that the leave shall not be more than once in 2 years and shall be for a maximum of 4 children.
We'll now take a short break. The news hour continues shortly.
Nigerians, elections are here again. Let us shun violence. Let us play the game according to the rules. Do not be a thug. Say no to violence. Let's rise and defeat violence, crime, and sabotage against the peace of our nation. Nigeria is the only country we have. We must do everything to keep it united. We must avoid any act that promotes hate and disintegration. Say no to separatist movement, terrorism, fake news, hate speech, religious bigotry, and any act that tends to divide us as a nation. Watch out for strange gatherings and suspicious movements. Restrict access to sensitive documents and data, the disclosure of which may damage national security. Educate your staff and family, particularly on measures to safeguard information and report security breaches. Apply relevant legal security guidelines to protect yourself and your neighbors. Due to misinformation and wrong choices, some idle persons resort to vices in their greed to get rich quick. They resort to kidnapping, killings for rituals, and other heinous crimes. Avoid wrong use of the social media. Before you broadcast that false message, think twice. Ask whether it will promote peace or violence. For safety at home, still be security conscious. Educate your household on safety tips. Report all suspicious movements and persons to the security agencies nearest to you. Be a good citizen. Be patriotic. To pass security information, please call 0813-222-2105, 0915-339-1309, 0908-837-3514, or send a mail to dsspr@dss.gov.ng. This message is from the Department of State Services, DSS.
You're watching the news hour on Trust Television. Thank you for staying with us. Now, time for us to join Chiamaka Nwafo for business update.
Investments in the manufacturing sector rose by 23.7% in the first half of 2022. Take two. Investment in the manufacturing sector said the Federal Ministry of Mines and Steel Development increased royalty rates on limestone by 233.3%, marble by 33.3%, laterite by 33.3%, clay 25%, shale 20%, gypsum 20%, and clay by 100% in the period. The MAN report said factory output value of the sector increased to 4.03 billion naira in in first half 2022 from 3.7 trillion naira in the same period of 2021, indicating a 9.0% increase over the period. It also increased by 0.26 trillion naira or 7.0% when chopped with the 3.73 trillion naira achieved in the second half of 2021. The World Bank has described the level and quality of infrastructure in Nigeria as low, despite the federal government's claim of borrowing to finance infrastructure. In its Nigeria Public Finance Review report, the World Bank said that Nigeria's physical infrastructure gap will likely reach $3 trillion in the next 30 years. It added that Nigeria's development outcomes were among the lowest globally, which indicated high public spending needs. The Washington-based bank also noted that it would take Nigeria 300 years to close the infrastructure gap, which would cost the country 4% of its GDP yearly. Nigeria currently has a debt burden of 66.61 trillion naira, which includes 23.77 trillion naira from the CBN and 42.84 trillion naira from domestic and foreign creditors. And finally, in stocks, a total turnover of 839.978 million shares worth 12.418 billion naira in 16,183 deals was traded in the week ended December 2nd by investors on the floor of the exchange. The financial services industry measured by volume led the activity chart, while the conglomerates industry and ICT industry were second and third respectively. The NGX All-Share Index and market capitalization appreciated by 1.26% to close the week at 48,154.65 points and 26.229 trillion naira respectively. 37 equities appreciated in the price during the week, with 25 equities depreciating, while 95 equities remained unchanged. And that's it on Business News. I am Chiamaka Mwafo.
Now, the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, is scheduled to depart from Abuja on Saturday for the Socialist Republic of Vietnam to engage in high-level bilateral activities in the Southeast nation. The engagements will include meetings with the President, the Vice President, and Prime Minister of Vietnam, other government officials, as well as the business community. This was contained in a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the Vice President on Media and Publicity, Laolu Akonde. According to the statement, the Vice President's 5-day visit comes after former Deputy Prime Minister of Vietnam, Vuong Hue, visited Nigeria in October 2019 in view of the trade and bilateral relations between both countries. During the visit, Hue was said to have met with Osinbajo and other senior Nigerian government officials and also interacted with the Nigerian-Vietnam Business Association. Away from Nigeria, 3 days of national mourning have begun in the Democratic Republic of Congo after the alleged massacre of civilians in the country's east, with the government now giving a death toll of more than 100. The period of mourning began on Saturday and will end on Monday with a televised fundraising event to support victims, government spokesman Patrick Muyaya said. On Thursday, the government accused the M23 militia, with whom it is locked in a months-long conflict, of slaughtering 50 people at Kishishev, a village around 70 kilometers north of the city of Goma. The M23 hit back, saying that the allegations were baseless and denied that it targeted civilians. At a Council of Ministers meeting on Friday, the DRC's president, Felix Tshisekedi, condemned in the strongest terms the massacre of the more than 100 compatriots in Kishishev, Muyaya said. Now, Tunisia's powerful labor union attacked the president's political and economic agenda on Saturday, including elections this month, saying that it will no longer accept what it called a threat to democracy in its clearest challenge to him yet. The UGTT union says it has more than 1 million members and has proven able to paralyze the economy with strikes. It has at times backed President Kais Saied after he seized most powers last year, but on other occasions has voiced tepid opposition. Now, Said shut down the elected parliament last year and moved to rule by decree before writing a new constitution that was passed this summer in a referendum with low turnout, setting up elections for a new weekend legislature on December 17. Most political parties are boycotting the poll, saying that the new parliament will have no power and faulting procedures the president has decreed, which include bringing the Electoral Commission under his purview. Now in sports news, the United States is out of the 2022 World Cup, losing 3-1 to the Netherlands on Saturday in the round of 16, a third consecutive defeat at this stage of the tournament. The Netherlands took an early lead and added a goal just before halftime, but Haji Wright pulled one back in the 76th minute for the Americans, only to have the Dutch come right back and score to essentially ice the game. It's a disappointing end of the road for a young U.S. team which had failed to qualify for the 2018 tournament. The Netherlands, who also failed to qualify in 2018, will face the winner of Argentina-Australia in the quarterfinals on Friday. Meanwhile, World Cup host nation Qatar showed its support for Pele on Saturday, lighting up buildings with a get well soon message for the Brazil football great. The Lusail Stadium in Doha, which will host the World Cup final on December 18, and the Aspire Tower next to the Khalifa Stadium were adorned with pictures of Pele in his famous number 10 shirt. On the Corniche, the Qatari capital's seafront promenade, the dozens of drones that come alive each night drew a Brazil shirt with Pele's name and number 10 on the back. Meanwhile, messages of support for Brazil great Pele have been sent from across the world, while the three-time World Cup winner is being treated in hospital. The 82-year-old was admitted to hospital in Sao Paulo on Tuesday, saying it was a routine monthly visit. And that's a wrap on News Hour tonight. You can watch more via all our social media platforms and also on our YouTube channel. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.